Hey, yo, for those who listen to Easy Sports Talk Show, you know that I do a lot of different things. This is Jay, by the way, but one of the things that I do is I'm an MC. So for those who are lovers of hip hop, make sure you check out my new project. It's called MC Sessions. MC Sessions, it just dropped. It's a 5-song EP, volume 1. You're going to love it. So go to wherever you listen to podcasts and music. Go to JLove MC Sessions, J-L-U-V MC Sessions. That's MC. Let me know what you think. You can also, if you want to download and put some, just support a little different way, you can go to jlove.bandcamp.com, jlove.bandcamp.com. Let a friend know what I do over here, and I appreciate it. Easy Sports Talk Show with Ed Smith and Javon Adams. My name is Javon Adams. You can call me Jay or J Love. That man is Ed Smith. He not only played professional baseball, but he also played in the National Football League for that first Super Bowl bound team for the Atlanta Falcons. He is an author. He is a motivational speaker. He's an all around great guy. The one and only Ed Smith. What is good, my brother?
Hey, man, I got a humble brag on you, brother. The sessions, man, that's on fire. I know we get into all the time talking about my athletic prowess and stuff like that. And don't get it twisted. This is a sports show, but we wrap around music too. And I mean, I marvel at what you do and how well you do it, how great you do it. And, even my son, my oldest son, he's, from even up in Utah, checking you out, and he's like, man, I didn't know Jay drops it like that. Like, yeah, that's my partner. So, hey, you keep doing what you do, man. I'm proud of you, and we're waiting for that invite to be on the next video.
That's what's up.
He is.
Much appreciated. So we do this thing 3 times a week here, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So make sure you tell a friend about what we have going on here. Today, since the NBA is back, this is the march through the 82, as my partner likes to say. But I came across a story, and I wanted to bring this up to you. I saw it on ESPN yesterday. It comes from it's about the LA Clippers. So we know that Kawhi Leonard has been the oft-injured Kawhi Leonard since he signed with the Clippers, even at the end of his tenure with the San Antonio Spurs. Some issues in terms of with him being injured, but then also with their timetable for his recovery or his return versus his own. And then he, of course, got traded to the Toronto Raptors and ended up helping them to win their first championship, and then signs with the Clippers. And he still had some of those injury issues. Well, an ex-Clippers staffer has sued the Clippers, saying that he was fired over Kawhi concerns. He expressed the gentleman who is he is last name is Shelton. He was strength and conditioning for the Clippers. He's somebody that has worked with Kawhi for many years when he was at San Diego State. Then when he was drafted by the San Antonio Spurs, so has a long-standing relationship with him. And so he's in the lawsuit. He reveals some interesting things about maybe the Clippers going and trying to recruit him before he was able to be recruited, about their desire to want to change the timetable and the rehab process for Kawhi based upon them wanting him back, as opposed to doing what the strength and conditioning coach was saying that was what's much more beneficial for Kawhi. And this, I wanted to talk about this a bit, if for no other reason than Kawhi is one of a big example, because of his star status, of how possibly organizations will do what's in their best interest as opposed to the player's best interest, and because the two don't oftentimes align. If it's a lesser known player, then by now that player would have either been traded, or he would have been released by the team or not re-signed, etc. But I just wanted your thoughts on this, as you have experience, not only in the locker rooms but in the clubhouses when it comes to professional sports.
Well, for anybody who thinks, Jay, that there's not a whole lot of stuff going on behind the scenes that we don't know about, you're fooling yourself. Every deal that's struck, every player that's signed, every contract that's negotiated if you think that, for example, I love when they have free agency when the NBA and at 12:01,
12:01
deals are signed. Because that is the official day that they can sign, and at 12:01. So are we to believe that somebody just happened to be out somebody's door at 12:01 with the contract in hand? Man, this stuff is being orchestrated long before the actual pen gets put to paper. Mm-hmm. And that same thing goes for when they're recruiting some of these players, when they're looking to bring some of these players on. There's all kind of secret ways to get a message to somebody or get a response to figure out if there's any interest there, or how can we pull this off if it's for the benefit of all of us, or how can we get the information we need to move on from this guy or whatever it is. It is so shady, and we've seen what happens when emails get exposed. Mm-hmm. To one John Gruden. There's a whole lot of stuff that most owners, thank goodness, they're like, they don't want anybody to know what they're after talking about and what they're after doing. Yeah. A lot of them have middlemen. The smart ones have middlemen who go and do all the dirty deeds and just report back. And they all know there is no texting, there's no emails, there's no calls to trace. We don't do that. Right. So this whole thing with Kawhi, it seems shady, but at the same time, it seems about par as far as I'm concerned. Yeah. Anybody who thinks that this stuff goes on and like this is an outlier, like, come on, seriously? There's so much stuff that is said and done. We're not going back to the days of the dudes meeting in the dark alley, with the dimly lit and stuff like that. Yeah. But it's not far. Now they're just meeting in nicer hotels and stuff like that, and the conversations are had in code. A little smarter, because you never know who might be listening on some of these calls, or if your emails to wherever be like, hey, we're going to use the search warrant to man, there's so many people out there sweating if that stuff was to ever happen, but we know it goes on. And this whole thing with Kawhi, as far as I'm concerned, is just par for the course in terms of how business is done, both dirty and clean business, and how shady it really can be. And nobody's immune to it.
What's interesting to me is that if you look at, for example, Kawhi, because Kawhi is oftentimes very quiet, and there are other people that speak for him, speak on his behalf. What is his uncle for the longest time? That would be the mouthpiece for him versus him going out there and trying to say something and then never uttering a disparaging word about, let's say, the Clippers or the Spurs, etc. But when you have when I'm posing this, it's a rhetorical question because I don't think that it will change anything. But when you have the Stephen A. Smiths and you have some of these talking heads that get on a players like Kawhi for not playing, but maybe either not wanting to acknowledge what's going on behind the scenes, or wanting to make the player more accountable because it's your career, so you should want to play since you're getting all this money. I wonder if it will change the way in which fans and the media will look at athletes when it's more often than not, it looks like they're being honest in that they're injured. Not the Devontae Adams, my hamstring, I get traded, now my hamstring's fine. No, it's the continued, it's not knowing who to trust because it's business. And when the organization is thinking about their best interest as opposed to mine, then I got to do what's best for me.
Well, Kawhi's an enigma, man. He's a dude that, because in today's age, everybody, you can't have it both ways. You can't want your athletes to shut up and tell us something, It's right. Like they want it both ways. We can't stand when they talk too much, but when you never talk, that pisses off even more. And Kawhi, he's just a dude that, I don't even know how you market him because he doesn't speak. Even in his commercials, it's like you're looking at him like, what are you even trying to sell me? I have no idea. The dude is a mystery. And this whole thing with his career even, I think more people, like if he had a press conference and said exactly what's hurting him, when it hurt him and why it hurt him and why he can't play on certain days, I think more people would be not necessarily comfortable, but they'd be like, I get it now. But because when's the last time you heard anything of significance from him? And I think that's what's pissing people off the most, because they want to know. They want to know why you can't play, but you're making all this money. They want to know what's hurting you and that when you hurt it. But Kawhi just doesn't give us much. And, I think it's going to continue on the same path. And there's not much we can do about it. As far as media, as far as fans wanting to know, you're only going to get so much out of that dude. And like I said, I think that's the most frustrating point, as people want, the thing that irks a lot of people, Jay. I know it does. It irks me just a little bit. I'm not as bad as a lot of fans out there.
Yeah.
You assume he wants to play, right?
Okay. Yeah.
And the season starts, and it's like, well, he's out indefinitely. And everybody's like, well, what now? Now what's wrong with you, mister? Now what's wrong with you? You a low down dirty dog, But then the season starts, and you see him sitting on the bench, and he's just smiling, not saying anything, but just smiling and look like he's having a good time. And that, people are like, well, you got to be more angst. You got to show me more anguish.
Is that fair though? Because if your
fair.
right knee or your quadriceps or whatever is hurt, are you supposed to be there looking like Pigpen or looking like you got a dark cloud over your head?
It's totally not fair. I'm saying, but that's why people are pissed off. Because they don't see him over there languishing in the fact that he can't. He's sitting over there, he might as well have at this point, he might as well have a bag of popcorn and a drink in his hand. Because that's almost, when you say he's out indefinitely, there's no time frame on that. That means it could be 2 weeks, it could be 2 months. And we know he's not going to put himself in harm's way, because that's not what he does. So you can assume, it's going to be quite a while before he gets on the basketball court, if ever again. But meanwhile, every night when the Clippers play, you got to watch him sitting over there looking like he's having just a jolly old time. And for people who aren't making that kind of money, knowing that he's making that kind of money, that's what ticks him off. Because, like I said, he should be like sitting over there looking sad as hell because he can't be out there on the court. Hey, if I was Kawhi, I had all that money in the bank, my knee was hurting, I'd be smiling too. Not because I wasn't out there on the court, but man, I got it good right now.
And they extended him too. I want to say over there. Yeah, is that
out there making commercials? I mean,
here's what it makes me think of because the Suns. So since we're here locally in the Phoenix area, the Suns they just played the Clippers for the beginning of the NBA season. And so the Clippers just have this new building, and they just built it, and you got to fill those seats. And I want to say all those seats were not filled when they were playing the Suns in the opener, in the season opener. And so if you don't extend to Kawhi, he perfect leverage, because they let Paul George go. They left with James Harden, who's going to throw up everything, and then afterwards go and hit up a nighttime establishment to see what's cracking afterwards. But it's almost as if it was the perfect leverage situation, and maybe the Clippers weren't doing their due diligence, if you know that you have this injury history with this young man, to try to find in some way, whether it's through trade or it's through drafting, whatever it might be, to try to get another star in there in the event that Kawhi is not able to go.
Let's just put it this way. If Steve Ballmer wasn't as rich as he is, he'd be probably one of the most pissed off people on this planet, because the return on his investment is zero as far as I'm concerned. You think about all the money he put as shelled out for Paul George, Kawhi, even Westbrook at one point, Harden.
Yeah.
He shelled out a whole lot of money, and what does he have to show for it? He's still, even moving into his new arena, I should say, he's still considered second fiddle in the town of Los Angeles. So he's trying to leapfrog the Lakers. Meanwhile, his team, you can't even LeBron's playing with Bronny, and that's more interesting than that product you just put on the court, and it's probably going to be more interesting for quite a while because Kawhi going to be sitting over there having his drink and his popcorn, right? And you let Paul George go, and Harden's a shell of himself, and you're old. Your team is old, so. He's got, if he didn't have all the money in the world, he would be very upset. But that man's rich as hell. You don't have bad days when you're that rich. You really don't. I mean, you can have disappointments, but you can't have bad days when you as rich as that man is. So arena and paying Kawhi and all that kind of stuff, I mean, it's a little upsetting, but he'll get over it. Now, in the meantime, he's going to have to start working on the plan eventually because Kawhi's not getting any younger. Like I said, you let Paul go. You got to figure out how to get some new stars and talent in there because the question is not when Kawhi's coming back. It's if he comes back, for how long, and, what are we going to do after Kawhi?
That's true. That's true because Kawhi is in that Anthony Davis territory.
Yes.
Yeah, Anthony, you balling, but for how long?
How long?
How long until somebody accidentally bumps your shoulder and you go down, and next thing you know, all that stuff. Well, I'm not trying to speak that into existence for Anthony Davis, though.
Here's the thing, though. Just like over there in Philly on the other coast with Embiid, it's like, wait a minute, this is the beginning. This is the first game of the season, and you already telling us you're not available. This isn't game 45. And we still got half a season to go, and you just came off a grueling 10-day stretch, and it took a lot out of you, bruh. You're just getting over the off season. I mean, this one you're supposed to be your healthiest.
I think another one that just got extended, right? I think Embiid got extended too.
Yeah.
And that's if you're looking at when you talk about return on investment. So yes, these are people, but also if you're looking at the product on the court, on the field, in the arena, whatever, on the pitch, whatever it is, either to go deep into the playoffs or to win championships. If not win championships, what can we do to fill these seats to get deep into the playoffs, maybe get to the championship round and kind of go from there. But Embiid is one of those because he hasn't played yet, and I just read that they're considering the NBA is considering launching an investigation in terms of as to why he hasn't played yet. Why isn't there more information coming out? Because we know that he's the dude that at some point in the season he's going down for an extended period of time as well. But there's so much money that is invested in just Embiid alone.
Well, he's already made his people and the organization has already informed the NBA that he is not going to be playing back-to-backs.
Yep.
And I mean, that is to me, wow. I don't understand all the money that is, and we all know Embiid. He's a twisted ankle or a hamstring or whatever it is from missing several weeks. He does that every year.
Yeah.
At the end of the season, he's at his worst. Is when the wear and tear from the 82. He's worth
a big dude.
Big dude. He's not worth the paper that they print the money on by the end of the season, just because he's so beat up. So maybe this is their way of combating that. But between him, Kawhi, and a couple others, it's I don't understand how you sell out all this money, and us as fans and media. We're the smart ones looking like, did you really, what were you thinking when you gave him that money? Like with Kawhi, how could you, in any good conscience, extend him, knowing his history, knowing
why?
How?
Because somebody else would say, our staff can get him right. Don't worry about it. It's the woman that sees the guy and says, I can clean him up. I can clean him up and make him all shiny.
What's the saying you always, when somebody tries to show you who they are, believe them. At this point, Kawhi, I believe you, bruh. I mean, I know you like basketball, but you don't like basketball. You don't love basketball, and you, of all people, are not playing through anything. And when I say that, I mean, if he's got a nick, you can guarantee. I'm not talking about New York nick. I'm talking about a nick, a boo-boo, a scrape, a scratch. That man is not, because his personal health is a whole lot more important to him than what you think about him. And I mean, he's he ain't going out there to put himself in harm's way.
Is it the accumulation of organizations doing him dirty, for lack of a better term? So if he does have a little bit of a hang now, he says, "Nah, man, I'm good. I see how y'all do me. I'm out, man."
You're talking to somebody who played through some stuff that I shouldn't have. I mean, when I tell you the abuse I put this body through, so I'm the wrong person to ask, because I laid it all on the line for a whole lot less money than Kawhi.
Right.
And I mean, for him, like, if I was making a fraction of the money that he makes, I would probably feel a little more of an obligation to go out there and, earn it a little more than, I mean, whatever happens, you can't and people out there dating, you don't want to be guilty of the sins of every person that your former lover or whatever, was involved with.
Yeah.
So we can't. Tyrone. I'm not Tyrone. I don't care what Tyrone did you. I'm Ed. I'm here trying to help you. I'm not Tyrone. And Kawhi, it's like, everybody's not the Spurs. Everybody, there are people that have your best interest in hand, especially when we're paying you $670 million, so at some point, bro, you got to let it go. That is.
Or with Lawrence Frank being in that front office at the Clippers, so when he maybe revealed who he was, and Kawhi said, "I believe you. I'm gonna keep signing these contracts, but I believe you, and you're gonna believe me as well one day too." But real quick, because I know when I went, speaking of, we talk about different sports. I saw you at Q's football game, and one of the things that you mentioned, and I thought you was about to stand up and let everybody know how you felt about this particular individual. So let me know, so you can get it off your chest, how you feel about the LeBron James, Bronny James situation. I was the guy, and I admit, and I even said, I've come a little bit closer to being center on this, is that because eventually I was just so upset. But when you think about nepotism, because that's at the heart of this, is nepotism and skill set, skill level is, I know that if I have the opportunity, I want to be able to put my sons in a position to be able to get them off to the best start possible. And if I have a business, which I do with the pressure washing business, if I can say, "Here you go, sons, whichever you's interested, whatever it is, I want you to be able, hopefully this, I build it up to where it is something that they want to say. Otherwise they say, 'Nah, Dad, we don't want that.' But to say thank you for giving, instead of me starting at square one, I'm at square three, right? But the thing that I have an issue with is the skill set, because Bronny is not, say, as talented as some of those other players that were drafted in the second round. And so the fact that he is not only on a roster, but getting so much shine, getting endorsements based off of his dad. So being in some of these commercials that's based around father-son type of things, that seems to be a little bit beyond the pale, if that makes sense. And so that's why I'm still not with it, but I understand from a father, from the joy that you would have to put your family on to be able to help them. But I know that you had something that you want to say, so I definitely wanted to give the floor to you, my brother.
Well, here's the thing, Jay. We all know I'm a Jordan man, the GOAT, in my opinion. I'm not a LeBron hater. He's not my cup of tea. Okay, so that all being said, you can't take away from what the man has accomplished, not just on the basketball court, but in his life, period. You're talking about a role model for young African-American men, where he came from to where he is today. There are very few that measure up to him. So not taking that from him. At the same time, I'm trying to even look to how to explain it from what he what's that word we always use? Passive aggressive.
Yes.
Passive aggressive, and that goes with how he treats these organizations when he's involved with them. I was telling my physical therapist the other day how you and I, we call him Thanos James.
Yes.
How he comes and scorches the earth,
yes,
scorches and leaves your organization in shambles. Now, I'll quickly get to why I have a problem with how everything worked out with his son. And there's 2 O words. We look for a theme here.
Okay.
2 O words that I'm going to use. LeBron, we all know he made his statement, his goal was the one day play with his son. Okay. There are 2 ways to go about it. You either do it and let it happen organically, or you orchestrate it.
Keep dropping these bars. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Right. Okay. Organically, what you do, you let the young man go to college. He's not ready yet. Maybe he has to play next year. That extends your window a little bit, but I mean, that's just how it works. He was averaging 5.5 points a game off the bench at USC. There are kids all across the country averaging a whole lot more than 5.5 and coming off the bench. But because your name is Bronny Jr., we're gonna push you ahead, right? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So we orchestrated where we get him drafted by his team of all teams, and supposedly there were all these other teams that were interested. Really? So you all need a 6'1", not even point guard, a 6'1" shooting guard?
Tweener.
To stock on your team? You didn't have enough of those already? 6'1", or maybe you got a 6'4" and 6'5", but we all need a 6'1" shooting guard that can't shoot, mind you, and can't rebound or guard anybody. Okay. So we get him drafted, right?
Yeah.
Then he is not just drafted, but we've guaranteed him money, the 55th pick, when normally these kids are drafted, you go directly to the G League. You don't go to Go. You don't even go to Baltic Avenue. You go to the G League where we send you, and when you're ready, we'll call you. Go down and get some work. But no, he's not only not going to the G League right now, he's going to be on the starting roster.
Mm-hmm.
And then how many 12th men on a roster actually get playing time in the NBA in game one? Yeah. Unless it's a 50-point blowout, right? But no, we're going to work it where not only are you going to get playing time, we're going to walk out on the court together, right? And we're going to announce to the world, I'm playing with my son. What does that say? Does that sound like orchestration or organically something where he put in the work, he showed that he could play at this level.
Right.
We got maybe not game 1, maybe it was game 10 because we sent him to the G League first. He got a little polish, came up, and then we did it sometime in November, December instead of October 20, whatever it was. So for LeBron to make it sit for like the history was made. History is made, but no, you guys made the history. It wasn't organically done through the process.
Okay.
It was you guys went out and you did something. I mean, LeBron technically can do whatever the hell he wants. He holds these organizations. He holds their balls in his hand. So if they don't appease him and do what he says, he gets angry and he's either going to, after the season, if he's got contract issues, or he's going to go take his ball and go home. So we know the power he wields. And the Lakers, all you did was appease the man and made it this, this farce of an event. But no, it's all happy, And here's the thing. I would be very proud too. LeBron, that's something that has never been done in the league before, but don't pretend like it was something that was organically grown, like it was something that should have happened. No, you made this happen. You forced the organization and everybody around you to make this happen. And that's why a lot of us look at it like it's a joke. I look at it like it's a joke, bro. I'm watching that kid run around out there on the court. I mean, even just standing next to his dad, it's like, holy cow, yeah. I mean, and I'm watching him. Other players were out there. Here's the thing. You put him out there. Stuck him out there for 3 minutes. You go ahead and play him in a real rotation. They would abuse that young man. And that's not fair to him. That really isn't fair to him.
Yeah.
So for LeBron, this was the mad scientist. This was him getting what he wanted, not necessarily and putting pressure on his son, mind you, and it wasn't about his son. Now, it's a cool thing for his son, but his son's the one who's going to have to answer some of these questions and pay the balance on some of these checks that LeBron is writing. And what I'm saying about that, when they eventually send him to the G League, if you're every player that's down there drafted 54 and above, right? All right, we're going to show him Daddy ain't going to be there to protect you when you're playing with the Wisconsin Road Badgers or whoever the hell it is, and somebody decides to drop 50 on you and dunk on you and stuff like that. They can't, well, hey, LeBron, you hear what they did to Bronny yesterday? What? I'm going to go over there and handle this. You ain't handling shit. I'm sorry. You ain't handling nothing. I guess it's a podcast. We can say that. But, I mean, so he's writing all the checks. Bronny's going to have to pay all the bills, though, while he's down there, unless he get the helicopter to take him from wherever he's going. He'll be riding the buses and everything like that, taking all the abuse. Meanwhile, it was this great historic moment that we got to share a few days ago that, like I said, it was orchestrated, not organically grown. And that's the biggest problem that I have with it. Don't piss on my leg and tell me it's raining. Just say, I wanted to play with my son in the NBA. I made everybody make it happen because that's what I wanted. And damn it, that's what I wanted, and that's what I got. So there you go.
Love it. Love it. I'm glad. I am so glad that I said that I unleashed you on that. That's classic. It's like he was waiting for it the whole time. He said, two O's, organic or orchestrated.
Well, I didn't even know we were going to talk about it, but I
love it. I love it. I love it. So that is Ed Smith. Not only we do this 3 times a week, but we also have a podcast called Believe in the Arizona Cardinals that we do every week as well. So Believe in the Arizona Cardinals for any Cardinal fans out there. If you're not one, if you know somebody who is, then please let them know about the podcast. It's Mondays and Thursdays. We just dropped one today because of the kind of the short week with the Cardinals coming off of that Monday night game. But again, just wherever you listen to podcasts or music, just go ahead and search Believe in the Arizona Cardinals, BLEAV. And as for this show, EasySportsTalk.com, EasySportsTalk.com. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel at The Easy Sports Talk Show, at The Easy Sports Talk Show. When you go to EasySportsTalk.com, you can get on the mailing list or the subscriber list as well, so you can be kept abreast of all the podcasts when they drop. And that man dropped it like it's hot today. And as we always like to say around this time, are you kidding?